Chapter 29. Kronos took a torch from the wall and held it high as he stepped into the opening. The room revealed before him was long and wide, though not tall. Shadows danced along the stone floor. As the others followed, Sakura and Craven lit two large vessels in the center of the chamber. Fire blazed upward, illuminating the walls in an orange glow. The chamber was lined with hieroglyphs and painted murals, but what drew Shera's attention was the massive marble pedestal at the center, framed by fire. Shera stepped closer. It wasn't just a pedestal. It was a tomb, and the lid lay on the floor. Two large portraits hung behind it, almost glowing with a divine light. The light was different, brighter, more alive than the rest of the room. The man and woman painted there seemed to radiate power. Kronos walked around the tomb and lifted his torch higher, illuminating their faces. Shera moved beside him and stopped. The man in the portrait sat on a golden throne. His features were fine and noble, his black eyes were deep and calm, and his entire presence exuded peace. He wore a flowing blue robe, a golden crown with a single diamond resting on golden curls. The woman beside him sat just as regally, her pink robe draped over a deep red dress, her face perfect, her skin pale, her lips red, her blue eyes filled with love. A golden crown, just like the man's, rested atop her long black hair. Shera stared at her for a long time. That face, though she was sure she hadn't seen it anywhere, seemed very familiar to her. She tried to remember where, but she simply couldn't, and then she heard Andrew. "Oh God, it's you!" Andrew's voice rang out behind her. She turned sharply. He stood transfixed. She looked back at the woman's portrait, and now she saw it, truly saw it. The face on the wall was her own. It looked just like her, and yet it didn't. It was older, wiser, different, but undeniably hers. How could this be? The porthole had been made long ago, long before she was born. "Where are we?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Kronos turned. "Under the Sphinx," he said. "The tomb of the keeper." She didn't look at him. Her eyes were still on the portrait. "And her?" "She's not you," Kronos said. "She's your ancestor." Shera's lips parted slightly, her voice barely audible. "Ancestor," she whispered, her mind reeling. "But how is that even possible?" "You really don't know," Kronos said, more surprised than mocking. He studied her face as though searching for traces of recognition. "You've lived your entire life blind to what you are, what she was, what your mother is." "What are you talking about?" Shera asked, her voice stronger now. Her eyes flicked from Kronos back to the woman in the painting. "Your mother," he said calmly, "is not a mere vampire, Shera. She is one of the guardians of the legacy, the keeper of the bloodline passed down from Torak and Mida." "That's a myth," Shera snapped. "That's what I believed too," Kronos replied. "That's what we were all led to believe. But it was never a myth. Torak was real. He ruled Adamira, a hidden city of unimaginable power. He was their prince until a savage war tore it all apart and mortally wounded him." "And Mida?" Shera asked, almost involuntarily. "Mida," Kronos continued, "fought beside him, fought to protect him. When he fell, she made the ultimate choice. She broke the law. She turned him, too early, but her love was strong enough to defy the odds. She succeeded where none had before. He survived the premature transformation." "I've heard the story," Shera said quietly. "My mother used to tell it to me at night, about how Mida saved him and about the blood." "Then you know," Kronos nodded. "You've heard the legend, but it's more than a bedtime story. It's history. When their enemies finally found them, they were betrayed and slaughtered. But their daughter survived. She escaped with the legacy." "And came here," Shera whispered. "Yes. Egypt was powerful then, protected. She lived here in secret. She bore a daughter, and when her time came, passed on the inheritance. And so it went. Generation after generation, each keeper chosen from her bloodline. Kronos moved closer now, his tone shifting from revelation to confession. It took me centuries to follow the trail, to find the traces left behind. When I finally found their resting place, high in the Alps, it had long since been emptied. Only a single parchment remained. It detailed the journey of their daughter, her escape, her vow. From there, I spent decades tracking her descendants. Until ... Until you found me, Shera finished. I didn't know at first. You looked so much like Mida, I couldn't believe it was coincidence. But when I learned you knew nothing of the legacy, I realized I had found a descendant, not the keeper herself. Still, your resemblance convinced me you were important. So I faked my death. I vanished from your life so I could continue my search, in secret. And now that you've found the place, you expect me to just come back, just obey you. Her voice turned sharp, cutting through the silence. Kronos flinched, just slightly. I was hoping you would understand, he said softly, that you would choose to stand beside me willingly. Shera laughed, bitter and short. You can't possibly believe that. Andrew tensed at the tone of her voice. It was full of steel, confident and controlled. He had never heard her sound more sure of herself, and from that alone, he understood. She would not give in. Whatever Kronos had planned, she would fight it. And so would he. You could rule the world with me, Kronos said, his voice rising. You and I together, we could remake everything. We could bring order, control, power. If I am what you claim, Shera said coldly, then I don't need you to rule anything. You don't understand, Kronos growled. As long as your mother lives, she is the keeper. You are nothing without her death. Shera's eyes narrowed. But you've solved that problem, haven't you? That's why you brought him. She pointed to Andrew. Andrew's breath caught. So you know? Kronos asked, surprised. Do you really think I wouldn't have felt it? And his mother confirmed it. My mother? Andrew repeated, more confused than ever. They were talking about him again, as if he weren't even there. She told me everything, Shera said, not taking her eyes off Kronos. Well, it's too late, Kronos said with a shrug. I'm too close now. I will get what I came for, with or without your help. Don't forget, I have his daughter. Andrew's fists clenched. The room spun. You killed Lily, he said, his voice low and trembling. And you kidnapped Carmen. Kronos smiled. I did it for your own good, he said, almost tender. You needed to be freed of distractions. Humans die and Carmen is leverage. And you, Andrew, you are eternal. Your destiny is greater than you know, son. Andrew stood still. His entire body went numb. Only one word echoed in his mind, son. He spoke it aloud, barely a whisper. Son. Shera looked at him, her face softening. She hadn't meant for him to find out like this. Yes, Kronos said, I am your father. The man your mother fled from. She lied to you. She raised you in hiding. But in doing so, she gave me the time I needed. And now, the time has come. I won't help you, Andrew said through clenched teeth. I won't be your puppet. Kronos tilted his head and then burst into laughter, loud, cruel, echoing off the walls. It grated on Andrew's nerves, pierced his ears. He lunged, but was caught mid-air by two Asharis. Shera reacted instantly, knocking one across the chamber, his body crashing near the tomb. The other she struck hard, slamming him into the stone, but she was still weak. The blood they had given her had revived her, but not fully. Eventually, they overpowered her too. Traitor! She spat at Sakura, struggling against their grip. Why won't you listen? Kronos cried out, exasperated. I'm offering you the greatest power there is, and you're throwing it away. Go to hell! Andrew shouted, still pinned. There is no such power, Shera barked. her strength still burning despite her restraints. Kronos was done arguing. He stepped toward Andrew, whose eyes flamed with fury. "You'll help me," Kronos said. "Whether you want to or not, I have Carmen, and I will make sure you never see her again. Do you want her to end up like your wife?" Andrew snapped. "You bastard!" "I didn't come this far to be stopped by a fool," Kronos snarled, grabbing Andrew by the hair and forcing his head up. "Here's how this works," he hissed. "As soon as she opens the crypt, you will enter and retrieve my prize, the Sphinx. You bring it to me. Do that, and maybe, just maybe, I'll let you see your daughter before you die." "Andrew, don't do it!" Shira screamed. "Carmen isn't here!" Andrew stopped struggling. Kronos released him, watching closely. "Fine," Andrew said. His voice was low and controlled. Kronos exhaled slowly, relieved. "Good. Then we understand each other." Andrew wiped blood from his lip. "What do I do?" "Shera will open the crypt," Kronos explained. "You'll go inside. Bring me what lies within." "The Sphinx?" Andrew asked. "It's more than that," Shera cut in. "It's a cup containing the blood of Mida." She remembered now. Her mother had told her the legend 100 times. Torak's premature transformation, the miracle of Mida's blood. Mida, known for her vast knowledge of healing and alchemy, had found a way to transform a dying man. Her blood had preserved Torak's life, giving him strength where others had perished. Her blood was power, and now that power was locked beneath their feet. "The blood was said to hold miraculous properties," Shera said, her voice almost a whisper. "That's why it was hidden. That's why the Keepers were created, to guard it, to keep it from falling into the wrong hands." Kronos nodded. "And now I've found it." "But you can't use it," Shera said, realization dawning. "You've already been transformed. You need someone untainted." Kronos smiled. "Exactly." Shera turned to Andrew. "He wants you to drink it." Kronos answered without shame. "A keeper's power is divine. If Andrew accepts the blood, the line changes, and I, as his father, become the new keeper." "You want to become a god," Shera whispered. "I want to become what they once were. What I was meant to be," Kronos said, pointing toward Mida and Torak. Shera's brow furrowed. "You expect me to believe this story is real? That it's not just another manipulation?" "Believe what you want," Kronos said. "But deep down you already know it is true. That face on the wall, it wasn't painted from imagination." She turned again to Andrew. "You don't have to do this." He met her gaze. "Yes, I do." Kronos clapped his hands, his patience fraying. "Enough. We don't have time for emotional drama." "I still have to open the crypt," Shira said firmly. "And you will," Kronos replied, confident. "You won't let a child die. It's not in your nature." Shira looked at Andrew once more. She needed to know, did he have a plan? Or was he surrendering? His eyes were calm and determined. She nodded and Kronos beamed with satisfaction. Everything was falling into place. He signaled to release her. Shera didn't move right away. Her mind raced. If she opened it, she gave him everything. But if she didn't, Carmen could die. She had to think. Fast. She approached the marble tomb and studied the carvings along its surface. Symbols, patterns, none of them familiar. "Wait," Kronos said. He handed her a parchment, ancient, yellowed, and fragile. She carefully unrolled it. A drawing. A sword with a serpent coiled around the blade. The handle bore the image of another snake, its mouth open, fangs bared. Above it, a crown, the same one Torak wore. At the blade's tip, 2 Egyptian crosses, each with a blue eye inside. 2 symbols beneath it, strange letters that she didn't recognize. She circled to the opposite side of the tomb, where the flames cast heavy shadows. The same carving was etched there. "Do you know how to open it?" she asked. "That's why you're here," Kronos said. "I didn't even know this existed until today. How would I know how to open it?" "Your mother must have told you something, a story. A memory. Something. She's a vampire, Shera snapped. She's not supposed to die. She must have said something, Kronos growled. You're her blood. You're her legacy. And don't you dare try to fool me, he added. She won't, said Andrew, stepping beside her. Shera looked again at the drawing, then the tomb. What had her mother said? Had she given her any clues? Her memory pulled her back. You're a very special girl, her mother once told her, long ago. In what sense? She had asked, curious. They were sitting outside listening to the rain drip from the leaves. You'll understand when the time comes. Destiny always finds a way to open our eyes. Like raindrops. When you catch them in your hand, it feels different from the river. Feelings open locks of life, and sometimes, even death. Raindrops, Shera murmured. She knelt, running her fingers over the carving. Dust crumbled beneath her touch. She traced the serpent, the handle, the eyes. Give me the knife, she said quietly. Kronos hesitated, then handed it to her. Shera reopened the wound. Blood welled in her palm. She gathered it, then let drops fall onto the blue eyes. Nothing. Why didn't it work? Why doesn't it work? Kronos snapped. Why don't you do it? Shera shot back. She lowered her hand. It touched the hilt in the carving. A rumble. The stone shifted. The tomb moved, revealing a stairway, descending into darkness. Kronos trembled with anticipation. Your turn, he said, jubilant. Andrew stepped forward. Andrew, wait, Shera shouted. What if he's lying? He never said where she is. What if he doesn't even have her? Kronos smiled coldly. Do you really want to take that chance? Andrew didn't answer. His mind was already made up. It's okay, he said to Shera, his eyes locking onto hers. I know what to do.